I just learned this new trick that could like exponentially decrease the amount of time it takes you to learn new skills, and by the end of this video you will too. So basically I'm going to be going over all of the principles you can use to double your learning speed, or triple or quadruple, whatever, and once you know them you'll be able to learn any skill you want way faster. So the first principle is to take advantage of flow state. I know a lot of you have probably already heard of it, but for those of you who have not heard of it, flow state essentially is when you're in a state where you're so focused on whatever task you're doing that you're not thinking about the world outside of you. You're working on something and you have no distractions. And this is the main thing we're going to be using to kind of increase the rate of learning, because when you're in a flow state you learn things a lot faster and you learn them better. A lot of people, a lot of young people specifically, have never actually experienced a flow state because, you know, we have phones and we're constantly distracted by social media and whatever. Your phones are actually designed to steal your attention for as much time as possible. In order to learn faster, you have to learn without distraction, and this means putting away your phone, but it also means no music, it means no TV, nothing like that. By the way, if you're listening to this in the background while you do something else, make sure to subscribe. I just called you out. So you're probably wondering, like, what's the big issue with learning with distraction? To put it very simply, when we practice a skill, your brain cements it into your mind through a process called myelination. Basically, with any skill you have, be it cooking, studying, triple backflips, you know, pretty much anything, it's tied to neurons in your brain. When you practice a skill, this fatty tissue called myelin will wrap around the synapses that are responsible for governing the skill. This is like your brain's way of cementing the skill into your mind. So basically, every time I do a corkscrew, I'm firing off the synapses in my brain responsible for the trick, and it just further cements it into my memory. When you're learning while distracted, there are many different neurons in your brain firing off from all different portions, and then what we found is that the myelination in your brain decreases significantly when you're doing multiple things at once, because your brain doesn't know what you're trying to do. This is why we're very bad at multitasking. So in order to apply this principle for myself, I've been working on corkscrew because I sprained my ankle and I can only flip on one leg right now. So basically every time I go to corkscrew, instead of what I usually do when I train, which is throw in music, talk to my friends a lot of the time I'll train with people I know, I'm going to set aside a couple hours a week to completely focus on the corkscrew. Whenever I get tired, you know, keep on thinking about the trick and not be distracted by my phone or music or whatever, because a lot of the time when I get tired when I'm training, I just go on my phone. And that's really bad. Actually, learning in a distraction-free environment is really difficult for everyone, including myself, obviously. But there are actually some pretty easy strategies you can employ to kind of fix this. Actually, the first one, and this is kind of extreme, one of the most effective ways is to shut yourself off from all technology for like 2 to 4 days and concentrate solely on doing the thing. This is how a lot of authors will write their books, except on a larger scale. They'll go for a couple of months at a time, because authors understand that having a phone next to you at all times is really bad for concentration. But sadly, for the majority of people, unless you work for yourself, this method's not going to work, so I just wanted to go over it very briefly. And the method that's going to work for most people is isolating a time of day at the same time every day to practice this skill. For me personally, I don't do this with tricking that much, but I do it with, you know, going to the gym. I wake up earlier every morning, and yeah, that's how I've kind of built up that skill. For you, it can be early in the morning, it can be late at night, it can be any time during the day when you know you're not going to be distracted. For most people, it's going to be early morning or late at night, because that's when no one's going to contact them. If you've been on productivity like YouTube, you've already heard this tip a lot. This is kind of how it intertwines with learning new skills. Yeah, the last method is what I use for tricking. Basically finding any free time you have, and whenever you have a block of free time, you know, you put your distractions away and you go and practice your skill. If you are in a situation where you can't apply the first, shutting yourself off for a couple days, that's probably one of the best ones because it allows you for full concentration. That being said, it's been shown that people can only stay in a flow state for around 4 hours. And if you're unexperienced, if you're like a normal teenager who's scrolling on TikTok all day, then it's probably going to be more like a half an hour when you first start, not even. Most people, it's going to take a while to build up the skill of getting into a flow state. Okay, now all of that information is fresh in your brain. Everything I just told you is all in your short-term memory. So in order to learn it, you need to actually apply it. Here's a video I have with 5 flips you can learn. They're all pretty easy, so it's going to only take a couple of hours of flow state in order to get them. So go do that now. Go practice the skills I just taught you. Bye.